Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to be going back in time, see what I did there, and taking a look at these, which are two Doctor Who character options classic Doctor Who sets, which both contain the Roger Delgado Master. Now, I did think of reviewing these individually, but then I thought, you know what? Since they both contain the Roger Delgado Master, a figure that I've been trying to get for years now, and have only recently been able to get with these two sets, I thought may as well bundle them together because, to be honest, especially with the Time Monster set, there isn't really too much to review, so thought it'd be nice to do them both together. Now, as I said, the Roger Delgado Master is a very sought-after figure, and I would have honestly settled for him second hand at this point because I just so desperately wanted to add him to my collection. And then, like everything it seems, all of a sudden I have none of them, and then I seem to get loads all in one go. So that's really cool, and I'm very happy to have both of these sets minted. Now, I did have to pay a bit of a pretty penny for them, but that is, there's no helping that at this point. If you actually are able to come across these, you are going to be paying quite a bit for them. So we'll take a look at the packaging, and we'll start with the Claws of Axos set, because that one came out first, I believe. So the packaging for these two sets is practically the same, except for a few differences, obviously the titles and the images that you have. This, in my opinion, was the best packaging that the Doctor Who figures ever had. As you can see, despite being Classic Who, it does have the RTD logo, but I have no problem with that because that was my Doctor Who growing up. And you have this very nice blue Gallifreyan text, kind of time vortex packaging with the orange stickers, borders, and of course the orange logo, and I really think the colours just complement each other really well. The blue and orange, it's very standout, it's very eye-catching, unlike the crap that they're using today, which honestly is so difficult to spot when you're looking for them in B&M because it's just so bland and boring, which sums up the current state of the show. But yeah, this is just a really, really nice packaging. So as you can see, we have the Master and Axon, and it even shows you 3rd Doctor 1970 to 1974, which I think is nice because at the time when these toys were released, a lot of my generation, the younger generation, were going back and starting to get into Classic Who. So it was nice that Character did this, just to kind of show you what era it's from, when the story was broadcast, 1971. And you've got two posable action figures. You've got these very nice pictures of Roger Delgado's Master and the Axon here. Then same on the side. On the back, you've got this really, really nice fire and space thing. Like, this packaging is just so great. I absolutely love this. I'm never going to throw these away. And as I said, it even shows you all the different classic Doctors and the years that they were, which is very cool. And then you've got all your barcodes and stuff here. Description of the story, I think. And then the blue again on the side, you can see the figures through the top, and just some legal stuff on the bottom. And then when the packaging is open, you are treated to this very, very nice backdrop. A little bit pixely, especially on the ground, but that's to be expected. I think Character actually makes these from stills. So you've got two Axons in the background, which is very cool, and the Axon spaceship. I just love that. I just really think it adds a lot more value to the set that you get these really nice backdrops, and I think Al Juar actually makes these himself. So really good job. That's a very, very nice inclusion, but let's get on to the figures. So I think we'll start off appropriately with the Master, because let's be honest, I think he's definitely the main thing for this set. Now, I'm just going to say right off that the likeness for this is absolutely incredible. It's just a perfect likeness. There is no denying who this is. The paint apps have been applied so well. You've got his slightly darker toned skin. You've got all the wonderful detail in his hair. The sculpt is immaculate. I mean, especially for a figure that's only, it's only 5 inches tall. And you've even got a sort of darker shade around his eyes, which I really like. The eyes have been painted really well on mine. I know there's some that do have a few dodgy eyes, so I think I've been really lucky with mine. You've got his wonderful white streaks in the beard, and you've also got a lighter grey wash over the dark grey just to really accentuate some details in the hair. In terms of his costume, there really isn't much to look at. It's basically just entirely the same matte black all around, but that's exactly how it was. Could have done maybe with making the shoes shiny, just to differentiate them a bit, like they've done with the gloves. The gloves are a darker black, but really the only other colour here is just the white of his cuffs for the sleeves, and that's really about it. You've got all of his pockets sculpted on there very nicely. You got the creases and things in the legs, which really just add to the detail. And yeah, not really much to say about his costume, to be honest, because there wasn't really much to it anyway. That's really all it was in terms of his original look. Now, he does come with one accessory, and this is the only accessory in this entire set. So when it comes to accessories, I think the Time Monster set is the better one, but you do get the tissue compressor eliminator, which is strange as he doesn't actually use this in this story. He uses this weird kind of laser rod, which is much longer and has like a circle disc at the end. I guess character thought that at the time, in case this was the only time they ever released this guy, they should package him with the accessory that he's most known for. But I have to be honest with you guys, I can't think of any other time other than Terror of the Autons where he uses this. But I don't know, let me down in the comments, let me know down in the comments below, is there another time? Because, like I say, I can only ever remember him using this in Terror of the Autons, but it does fit very nicely into his hand, which is sculpted to hold it, so it's a very nice accessory, and it really just adds to the figure. You know, like I say, it's a bit strange because he doesn't use it in this story, so it's not going to make much sense. But in terms of articulation, it's all the standard for these 5-inch figures. The head can rotate from side to side. Don't recommend you force it because you don't want to scratch the paint off. You've got a full 360 at the shoulder. There's a full 360 at the bicep, 90-degree bend at the elbow, full rotation at the hand, a full rotation at the waist. The legs can kick forward, but they are hindered by the PVC piece here. They can't really go back. They can come out to the side, and there is a gap in the PVC if you want him to do that. There's a rotation at the top of the legs, and a 90-degree bend at the knee. No foot articulation, but yeah, it's funny because I can't really picture me getting him in any, you know, exotic poses, so really I'm just going to stand him like this, maybe have him pointing his TCE. I have noticed that his head is kind of leaning off to one side on mine, but I actually kind of like that. He looks a bit shifty, so that's really, really cool. And just for a size comparison, we'll bring in the absolutely enormous Axon figure here. This is a huge piece, so yeah, just to kind of show you guys the size difference. But now, putting the Master to one side, we're going to take a look at what I think was most attractive to the younger viewers at the time, which was this great big monster. And I have to say, character have done a phenomenal job with this. Now, some of you Seeds of Doom fans will probably recognise this, and yes, it is the Crinoid. I have reviewed the Seeds of Doom set on my channel, and as I said I think I said in that review, that figure was just a repaint of this figure, and this figure came out first, but actually, the Crinoid was meant to come out before this one, and it never did, so this is technically a repaint of the Crinoid, because Axons don't really have faces, but there is a way you can fix that. You can just rotate the head, and that looks more like an Axon. So I might actually display it like that, but I'm going to keep him like this now for the sake of the review. But as you can see, this is quite big for a character options figure. I absolutely love the texture and the paint apps on this. You've got those nice purples with the sort of apron, I don't know how to describe it actually, peach colour pink, like an orangey pink for the base colour. Then you've got the lighter pinks and also the nice beige colours. It really just highlights all of the amazing detail in this sculpt. All the way around, you've got all these very disgusting kind of tendrils coming off. I always thought the Axons were one of the more visually impressive monsters in Classic Who. They seem to get a lot of hate. I don't really know why. I think they look great. and really baggy, obviously, but just so cool. As say, you've got these sort of tentacles here for the hands, which they use to drain the life out of people, I think. So very cool. And like I say, these are all soft PVC pieces, so you know, if you move things, they'll just happily brush over. They're not gonna catch on anything. So the articulation for this figure is quite strange, but very simple. So as I say, you've got a full 360 on the head. The arms are on T-ball joints, so you can bring them right the way out to the side, as well as do a full 360. No elbow articulation, but that's understandable because it would just completely destroy the sculpt. Full 360 at the... I was going to say hand, but I've no idea what that is. There is a full 360 at the waist, but this was so difficult to move. I remember I took it out the box and it was just frozen solid. Now, the legs are the really strange thing. So they can't actually go forward or back. They just kind of rotate like this, but you can also bring them out to the side. So I'm not really sure how you could get this in any other pose aside from just standing straight. You know, if anyone wants to try, then give it a go. But yeah, I can't really picture you displaying him like this, so I'm not really sure what the point was in adding articulation, but I guess it's good nonetheless. And then lastly, you've got a full rotation at the feet. Now, this, if for those of you guys who don't know, the Crinoid was originally supposed to be a builder figure, and I have a feeling that the only reason you've got rotation here is because the feet would have come in one and you clip them on, but also the Crinoid has different feet to the Axon, different hands, so I think character used this as an opportunity to clip the different feet on. I wish I had both of the figures here so I could do a comparison. Maybe I will one day, but this is a very impressive figure. Like I say, even though it's lacking in articulation, it's just such a cool thing to have on the shelf. It really is impressive, and when displaying the Master next to him, this is definitely one of the cooler classic series sets, and I'm so happy to have it. It really does make the John Pertwee shelf look more complete. I've still got the ways to go, but I'm very happy to have this. So, something I didn't expect to get in such a near future after getting this one was the Time Monster set, which we will move on to right now. So here we have the Time Monster set. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on the packaging because, like I say, it's exactly the same as the Claws of Axos version, just with different pictures. The Master with TARDIS as a computer bank, which, for those of you guys who have no idea what that is, in the 1970s, that was basically a computer. Yeah, you know that little thing that we use for social media and typing and stuff? Yeah, that was a computer back then. So, yeah. And the Master's TARDIS... the Doctor's TARDIS is stuck in a police box form. The Master's TARDIS isn't. It can take any form he needs it to, and it basically just takes a form of a computer bank to blend in, you know, which is really cool. And this does actually have some bonuses to it, which I'll get onto when reviewing. So on the back, same as before, description of the story, very nice presentation of the figures and the various accessories in the viewing window. So let's not dilly-dally, let's get them out the box. And so, inside the box, you are treated to this very lovely diorama of the Master's TARDIS. Now, this is actually very clever. For those of you who haven't seen the Time Monster, I'm not going to spoil anything, but that's very clever in a sense of what actually happens in the story. So you can very well display your computer bank and the Master inside this diorama, and it will make a lot of sense to the story, and I think those of you who've seen it will know what I'm talking about. I will say, though, the cardboard is a lot thinner in this one. In fact, it's not really cardboard at all, it's just card, whereas the Claws of Axos diorama was actual cardboard, so I'm not sure if that was a sign of the budget getting lower, but yeah, it is a bit of a shame, which means this could be damaged quite easily, so just keep that in mind. But it's very nice. You've got that sort of white floor of the Master's TARDIS, and then you've got all the dinner plates. It's very cool, so we'll put that to one side. And I think we'll start off with the Master again. Now, I'm not going to go over articulation because it is exactly the same. In terms of paint apps, just bringing the two in, I think there is a slight difference, but it's barely even noticeable. Like I say, I think I've been very lucky with both of my masters. I think on this one, his eye is going ever so slightly off to one side. I will say there does seem to be more of a brushing in his beard than on the other one, but that could probably just vary from figure to figure. Mostly the paint apps are exactly the same. Now, I will say, and I don't know if this is just my eyes, but his costume is ever so slightly darker than this one, and this one also seems to have a more smoother feel to it, whereas this one is a bit more chalky, if that makes sense. Once again, I do think they could have maybe changed the paint on the shoes just to differentiate them a little bit. Aside from that, the paint apps are exactly the same. There's no difference between them at all, so whichever version you get, you're getting a great version of this character. Unfortunately on this one though, I have had a few QC issues. My leg here seems to go off to one side for some reason, and my bicep joint hasn't been plugged in very well, but it's not too big of an issue, but it's just, you know, just wasn't quite as lucky there. So turning to accessories for him, it's practically the same as the other one in terms of the tissue compressor eliminator, which once again he doesn't use in this story. So I'm guessing character packaged this because they thought, well, you know, this could be your only chance at getting the character, so they thought that you should have as many accessories as possible, which I'm actually fine with. I hate it when people complain about that. I'm not complaining, I'm just saying that, you know, it wasn't in the story. So it's nice that they are giving you a bang for your buck, but he also does come with a bonus accessory in the form of the Crystal of Kronos, which he uses to control Kronos. Now, the weird kind of flying, the guy with a towel and a cardboard head, basically. It's meant to be a Reaper from Series 1, but obviously no budget at all. So you can slot this into the same hand as the TCE, or you can actually just pop it into his other hand. It's quite rubbery, so there, you do get a nice bonus accessory for this master, so that might be something to take into account if you are choosing to only have one of these sets. He does also come with a third accessory, which I'm not even going to say anything because I think we all know what we're thinking, but I'm just not even going to bother saying it. Yeah. But this is actually for the third Doctor. Now, we did end up getting a third Doctor from the Time Monster years later in the B&M TARDIS set. So I have that set, so I can actually give this accessory to him, and on my shelf, that's what it will look like. But this isn't for the Master, so it's nice that they included it, but like I say, this is very much meant for the third Doctor. I'm not going to say anything. Yeah. So we'll put the Master to one side and we'll have a look at the computer bank. Now, I'm not going to lie, guys, there is not a lot of detail here. I mean, you have the spinny things, you've got a couple of dials, and I don't know what these are meant to be. You've got some pipes, this box. You've got the ventilation at the top, which is nice, and this area is painted grey. I like how they've sort of bordered some of the things with some silver, but I'm not going to lie, the paint apps are not great. There's a lot of paint bleed, especially in these areas, and as you can see, it just hasn't been applied as neatly as it could. This thing is completely rotocast, so it's hollow. As you can see, it's quite squishy, actually, and unfortunately because of that, you can see that mine is actually bent. You can see, and I think that's because of how it was packaged. It's not too bad, but it does feel quite cheap, and that's something I'm going to emphasize right now. Considering the amount of money I paid for this set, obviously it only cost about £20 when it was released, but even, you know, £20 was a lot of money back then, and I still think that was quite cheap. So, as you see, nothing on the back, nothing anywhere else. You know, they could have at least maybe added just an outline of the door that the Master uses to go inside it. Or what would have been even cooler is if you could actually pull the door out. Like, it had a sort of, basically just like a drawer on the inside. You could sort of pull that out, you could pop the Master in, because I think he'd be short enough to fit in there, and actually you could close it. I think that would be really cool, but instead, I suppose that would have brought the cost up, so they thought, nah, let's just go for for this instead, which is still nice, don't get me wrong. But what I will say about this is actually quite cool if you're someone who likes building dioramas. Now, you know, if you're like me and you love the Third Doctor's era and you want to have, like, I don't know, unit headquarters or something, they had a lot of computers like this just in the background. So like I say, if you wanted to use this as a bit of a set piece for a diorama or an action figure adventure, you know, you can very easily do that. Like I say, it doesn't necessarily have to be the Master's TARDIS. You can just use this as something in the background with some chairs and some tables and stuff. Just something like that, but it's just a cool idea. But yeah, when popping the Master in front of it, he looks really great. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring the Claws of Axos set in now. And then we're going to talk about which one I prefer and why. So here's the two sets. Now, I have to say I like both of them, and I'm very happy to have both of them. But if I could only get one of these sets, which one would I go for and why? Well, I think for me, and in terms of money, it would have to be the Claws of Axos set. Now, from what I know, you are going to be paying significantly more for this one. I actually think this is one of the most expensive and hard to get sets out of the whole Classic Series range. These were both Forbidden Planet exclusives, so they were very limited. I doubt they're going to be released again. You might get this guy in a B&M set, but I'm definitely sure that won't be released again. So like I say, I really do want to complete my John Pertwee shelf, because I'm a huge fan of that era. But out of the two sets, I would have to say the one that I'm most happy with is this one, because here you're getting two action figures. You know, you're getting the Delgado Master, he comes with his tissue compressor eliminator, and you're getting a very, very awesome figure, a gigantic figure of this Axon. I like the Time Monster set, don't get me wrong. I think what it lacks in figures, it makes up for with accessories, and this TARDIS is a very nice backdrop piece. Like I say, it just comes across as a little bit cheap, and I feel like back in the day, I think most people would have gravitated towards this one, had they had, because this one came out a little bit later, so I'm not sure if both of them would have been on the shelf at the same time. But if you're like me and you're trying to track down, well, I was trying to, I've got them now, but if you're trying to track down a Roger Delgado Master, which of these sets would I recommend? I would have to say the Axon set, purely because you're getting this gigantic Axon. In terms of the Master, they're exactly the same. I really can't find any differences between them, but you also do get bonus accessories with this one, and like I say, if you have that Time Monster set from B&M, this can go with your Third Doctor. So if you're a huge fan of the Time Monster, or you just like that you've already got the Third Doctor, so you feel like adding this would be the best, then I'd say go for this one. But if you're like me and you absolutely love this Axon figure, I'd say you're getting a very good Delgado and you're getting this, well, awesome Axon. So like I say, for accessories, go for this set. For figures, go for this one. And yeah, I mean, honestly, guys, pick them both up, because I honestly think they're really, really good. Now, there is two more Delgado sets that I don't have. There's the Demon set, which comes with the Satanic Master in his Satanic robes. And there is also the Third Doctor B&M set, which I missed out on because I didn't start collecting the B&M sets till the following year. I wasn't even aware that they were a thing. So sadly, I missed out on that. But basically, it's just an exact re-release of this guy. He doesn't come with the tissue compressor eliminator, and his skin is way darker. And I don't think the paint applications are as good, so I'm not really bothered about that, but I would very much like to get the Demon set because I think that's a very cool version of him. So overall, I'd give the Time Monster set, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. I still really like it. The Axon set, I would give a 9 out of 10. It's absolutely brilliant. And yeah, I'm not really sure. I think my only complaint is that he didn't come with the laser blaster. Instead, he came with the TCE. But yeah, I absolutely love both of these sets, and if you haven't added them to your collection yet, guys, definitely try, but I understand the prices are, really difficult at the moment. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. Like I say, me and Doctor Who aren't really in a good place at the moment, but I do really enjoy going back and looking at a lot of the classic stuff. I still love Classic Who, always will. So if you guys would like to see more videos like this, please let me know down in the comments below. Let me know what you think about these figures, and are you lucky enough to have them in your collection? Stay safe and happy wherever you are in the world, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.